A very good morning to one and all present over here, teachers. A warm welcome to one and all present over here for another Super Sunday workshop. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, the audio was not there because I did not start the session. I hope you're able to hear me and see me clearly. Thank you so much for all the participants who have been consistent over here. And clearly, that's okay. Thank you so much. I would like to welcome especially all those people who are participating for the first time. My name is Vasudevan Natarajan, and I work at Super Teacher. We are regularly conducting this Super Sunday workshop as a part of a culture, a custom, a tradition at Super Teacher in order to give an exposure about the Indian education system and talk about various other countries as well, pertaining to the policies, the frameworks, the latest curriculum, the assessment mechanism, the technology, everything that we can touch across for the education fraternity across there. So I would again like to sincerely thank all the people who have been consistently participating. It takes lot of preparation and lot of energy to wake up in the morning, sit at 10 o'clock, that too on a Sunday, especially when Oh My God 2 is released. I'm not sure how many of you have gone for that, but anyways, thank you so much for joining. Let's immediately continue with today's topic as well. Today's topic is quite interesting and quite elaborate in its nature, but keeping the Homo sapiens as a species category, this does not talk about the school education or education in terms. It's more with respect to our behavior for, like, with each other. Now when we talk about Homo sapiens as a species, we are comprised of, I think, two elements majorly that we can immediately understand: something called as the physical body and the mental body. Now when we talk about what really affects us, or what's very important, well, both are equally important. We can't really have a judgment on that, but the facilities that are present out there, if somebody trips down or falls down and breaks his arms or legs, the hospitals are present out there and people know about it. But somebody trips down mentally, somebody falls down emotionally, there are very less hospitals out there. Now, when we talk about mental breakdowns and mental problems out there, those are perceived in very different format. In most prominent and common scenario, if there is a different kind of a behavior by a human being, generally as a colloquial or in a slang language, people call them pagal. I think most of you would have actually experienced that, right? I've been called pagal, you've been called pagal in multiple times. It could be in multiple languages. In Karnataka, and we generally say gube, which is owl, actually ullu, but that's a bird which is considered to be symbol of wisdom. But yeah, Ulu came somehow over there. But the point over here is, when we talk about inclusive education, including people, we are talking more from the perspective of mental well-being. It's just not physical. Physical is contributing to the major part, but in this particular session, and when NEP talks about inclusive education, it's more from the perspective of mental behavior and understanding. And that's what we're going to touch upon in this particular session. It's going to be quite elaborate in nature, but within 1 hour, let's try to concise as much as possible. Whatever information I'm going to speak is going to be directly related from the NCRT website, the Nishtha portal, where there is a proper training program for curriculum and inclusive education. Before talking about inclusion and inclusive education, we also need to understand, how does a curriculum actually get derived? How does it get actually framed? Just imagine, Harita ma'am is, talking about a particular content. This is their reflection of light, or you talk about trigonometry, any chapter. Who said that the chapter has to be present over there in the textbook? Somebody has to say that, right? There needs to be a certain rules and regulation. Can somebody tell me, how does a chapter in a particular book come over there? Anyone out there? Where does it come from? What is the base document on which, or because of which, that particular chapter is present over there? Anyone, you can put it on the chat. Okay, chat is overloaded. Okay, I'll seniors. Okay, that's interesting. Real life usage. Okay. Curriculum, based on history. Okay, the more precise answer over here is NPC. No, I think you mean to say NCF. Okay. NCRT says that, so we follow that. Well, NCRT also follows someone. NCRT is the publication company out there coming up with the textbooks, but the presence of a particular chapter in a particular book is directly derived from syllabus. Syllabus is the first step. Well, where did syllabus come from? Syllabus would have also come from somewhere, right? It came from something called as the National Curriculum Framework. National Curriculum Framework is a framework designed by certain set of people, saying that this is how my syllabus should look like. And in the syllabus, they talk about in detail what chapter should be present. Now, when we talk about National Curriculum Framework, there needs to be a base document how National Curriculum Framework gets derived. So when you talk about NCF 2005, you talk about NCF 2022 for foundational stage, NCF 2023. These are all coming from somewhere else. Those are coming from where? Okay, you're putting it on the chat. That's great. Curriculum, Ministry of Education. But what exactly is the name of the document based on which Ministry of in history chronologically, kind of, but these are all dependent on a certain document. So National Curriculum Framework is completely derived from something called as education policies. So the first thing that comes on the ladder is national policy for education or national education policy, whatever you call it. It could be in different timelines. So right now we are into new education policy or national education policy 2020, based on which there are four national curriculum frameworks. Did you know that this time there are four? The first one is actually for national curriculum framework, foundational stage, only catering to early childhood care and education till grade 2. Then you have got from grade 3 and above till grade 12, national curriculum framework for school education. That's the second document. We discussed this in the previous last few Super Sunday workshops in one of the sessions. I think in School Initiative Super Sunday, if I'm not wrong. Then we have national curriculum framework for adult education. I think you know about that. Yeah, basically graduation, post graduation, and things like that. And then came national curriculum framework for teachers or teacher education. I'm not sure how many of you have gone through these documents. Not all of them are released. Foundation stage is done, school education is done, adult education ka thoda bahut here and there, but I have not seen a proper complete framework document. Maybe I need to check that. Similarly for teacher education. So these are some of the frameworks, but these have come from new education policy 2020. Why are we talking about it? Let me show you the diagram. So for that, today's topic is going to be quite informative. I would request everybody to please note down as much as possible, but this will be there on the YouTube forever. We will on Super Teacher official channel. We'll also be conducting a detailed training program on some of the key aspects of these policies and frameworks, and that training is starting from tomorrow onwards. The continuous professional development program, CPD, for teachers and school leaders, it's starting from tomorrow. It will continue for 12 days, 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening, Monday to Friday. You can check further details in the website, and our team members are putting it on the chat also regularly. In case if anyone is interested, you can join. We are not running multiple batches, considering this to be mid time of an academic year. This batch will run probably next batch, in if time permits, will start later in this year. Otherwise it will not be there. Anyways, that's okay. Anyways, Super Sunday workshops are sufficient enough to get a lot of exposure. I'll come up with that rationale as well. But here we go. Let me share my screen and give you an idea of what exactly we are in for a show today. So here we go. So education policies, curriculum frameworks, and inclusion. And this is how it looks like. So National Education Policy 2020, National Curriculum Framework, and right after National Curriculum Framework, we have got something called as curriculum. Now, curriculum is something from subject perspectives. You would have heard about this term called as NFGs. Kabhi suna hai? National Focus Groups. Now, NFGs are these people who are from a particular subject, who sit together. They're all present across the states. They are also called as state focus groups, SFGs, and national focus groups. They're all from multiple states and say that this is what is supposed to be present as an example for science. This is what is supposed to be present as a lesson for maths. Things related to what exactly is supposed to be present in a curriculum. And they are from multiple states because it's believed that whenever we have a textbook, it needs to be inclusive in nature. Now, when we say inclusive in nature, it needs to come up with the inclusion of all the state's culture and background and way of life, everything. So if we do not have a person from Assam in this NFG, do you really think that we can really come up with a genuine example? It's going to be kind of difficult, and that's the reason NFGs is comprising of multiple SFGs or multiple people from different states. national focus groups. Now this is curriculum. Right after curriculum, they decide on the syllabus, what exactly has to be the syllabus for each of the subjects. Again, the job of NFGs, which is then handed over to NCRT, and they come up with the textbooks. And once the textbooks come, based on the textbooks developed, you have got this option of learning outcomes ka document. You've got this option of learning objectives ka document, assessment ka support material. All these are present in the CBSE website. That's called as teacher support materials, and all of these constitute to one aspect called as learning outcomes. Going through my Indian education system, these are the learning outcomes that will be achieved. So that's what is the whole picture about the development of whatever we have. I hope everybody's clear with this. This is the most important hierarchy as an educationist or an educator we should know. It all begins from the policy maker and it comes down to learning outcomes. End of the day, the people who are there in the between form the Indian education system. And if you look into this particular aspect, the curriculum, textbooks, and teacher support materials are the three important areas that comes from implementation perspective. Here is where you come into picture. So when you're implementing this, there are certain criteria that needs to be followed. One important criteria that needs to be followed is called as inclusive education. That's what this particular course talks about, and that's what we are going to get into one by one, little by little. Now in NEP 2020, this is the screenshot of NEP document 2020. The pointer number 6 talks about equitable and inclusive education, learning for all. So here in this case, rather than going through all the pointers, let's just go through the highlighted one. This is going to be quite inspiring. Watch this. Socio-economically disadvantaged groups, SEDGs, can be broadly categorized based on multiple categories. Look at that. The first one is gender identities. We already saw one session, particularly female and transgender individuals. They are supposed to be included. Socio-cultural identities such as scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, OBCs, and minorities. They are supposed to be included. Geographical identities such as students from villages, small towns, aspirational districts. They are supposed to be included. The most important, disabilities, including learning disabilities, they are supposed to be included. And socio-economic conditions such as migrant communities, low income households, children in vulnerable situations, victims or children of victims of trafficking, orphans, including child beggars in urban areas and the urban poor. Look at the detail that they have written in one single line. These are the people, SEDGs, like basically economically disadvantaged groups. These are some of the categories who are supposed to be included in the school education. It's very difficult to actually include everyone, but when you look at the numbers, they're quite high. And even now, there are many schools out there who straight away deny, the admissions of such kind of children. Right to Education Act came into picture. Then there are many other legal policies that we will be discussing who made it very strict for the schools to include them. In this particular session, we will very clearly define why is it important for such kind of students to be included. Some of you might think that agar aise students ka, if we have a separate school for such kind of students, don't you think that will be better? We'll talk about it in a little more detail little later. So this is with respect to NEP 2020. And when they say equity or equitable education, look at this difference. We saw this in the previous workshop as well. Equality and equity. Equality is something related to, you have got the first picture. Equity talks about giving an extra support to those people who genuinely require them. And that's where equity comes into picture. This is not share market equity, but share market equity also talks something very closely related to this. Yeah. Anyways, this is equality and equity. Let's go further. Why inclusive education is important? Look at this. Rabindranath Tagore very nicely says that the problem is not how to wipe out all differences, but how to unite with all differences intact. Let's stop share the screen for a few seconds. And when we talk about this particular aspect, it's quite interesting because we are all Indians. Now when we talk India as a country, look at the diversity that we have from one state to another or one region to another. In fact, from one street to another street also. Back in those days when Gurukul system was quite prominent in India, it used to be completely topographical oriented. That means agar if there is a child who is present here within 10 to 15 kilometers, there used to be something called as Gurukulam. and the children go over there and the teachers are present over there. They learn things there. So that's how it used to be. And the learnings that used to happen at that particular region, the topics are completely related to region specificity. So the children who are there in just for example the southern part of India, they have certain characteristic traits that the northern part of India might not have. The northern part of India children might have something that the southern part might not have. These characteristics or the traits that we have, it's completely from the influence of such kind of Gurukul system. Well, Gurukul system is amazing, but it's definitely a segregated addressal for the students. Then came universalization of education after British came into picture. They said that, hey, you're all the same country. I mean, that's how we look at it. But why do we have so much of differences? Let's try to get united. And they started getting into connecting people from one place to another. They said that there are good boarding schools, go and join over there. Why don't you come over here and learn this particular art so that this art can be properly utilized in your region. In fact, there are so many Asian countries who still use our medical system of Ayurveda, but in India Ayurveda is getting slowly faded away, including yoga for that matter. So here in this case, when we talk about the universalization of education, it really paved the way for digging the past and getting it back into the system right now. Inclusive education is also one such initiative because of what used to happen back in those days. People did not have any disparity. So why do we require inclusive education? That's an important question. Let's assume a situation that there is a child who is a different kind of a learner. I'm not talking about the disability as such, it could be anyone. Now there are some people who suggest in the school that this particular child cannot be at the same level of others. Let us have a separate school, and there is a separate school where such kind of children are taught according to their requirements. So far meaningful, everything is fine. These children are able to learn everything at a quite fast paced manner, and even the normal children are able to learn things. That's perfect. But once the schooling gets over, look at the scenario. Everybody is coming to the same society. Now the moment same society comes into picture, the support, the guide that we used to have during our education, we are not going to have in the future when the society comes as a whole. And that's the time when the children with special needs or the children who think differently are not able to survive, because the majority of the people out there have created a system where such kind of children who are quite normal in nature, that's a very subjective term, are able to respire or perspire, whatever it is, they're able to live properly, but these children are not able to. So that's the place where there is a disparity that's suddenly shown to all the children. So this is one way of looking at it. Second way of looking at it is, if a child is having a certain disability or impairment or handicapness, a situation, I'm going to talk about all these things one by one. um, the mental aspect of these children are actually much stronger than the children with all the abilities that we call them. The point is, mentally, if a child feels that I actually want to be included, just imagine you're all there in a school, and there is a game called as musical chair getting played. Okay, just imagine. And with musical chair, especially this happens during the teachers day, right? Children actually conduct such activities. If you look into this particular game, majority of the times all the lady teachers will be participating in this. One or two male teachers who are present in the school will not actually participate. Will say, "नहीं sir, हम दूर से देख लेंगे, CT बजाएंगे, we are PT teachers," or something like that. It's not that they're not supposed to be. It's just a custom that got included. But these male teachers, probably this is just a situation. Probably when the game is getting intensified, they might think, "अगर मैं वहां रहता ना, if I am there, I would have definitely won this. This is so easy." This is one way of looking at it. This another thing is, when you go to team outing or some kind of a picnic spot, some teachers are very jovial, very extroverts. They like to go and enjoy with other people. But some are, they don't really like too many people around them. It's like more like an introvert kind of behavior. They will be like, "मुझे थोड़ा सा अलग रखो, it's okay, no problem." Now forcing them to be part of the group is also exclusion. Now that's the beauty of inclusion. Inclusion is not with respect to a person's physical presence, but their mental satisfaction. Let's actually watch this to understand this even better. It's going to get little complicated at times, but we don't have any other option. We have to learn this. as much as possible so that we can benefit the children. And where is the video? Here we are. I hope you are able to see this. You will be able to see this in few seconds. The audio is shared. You should be able to hear this now.
Vidya is like any other 5-year-old girl, innocent, curious, and smart. She loves to talk, sing, and play. Hailing from a poor background, Vidya's parents decide to see her as a teacher. And her parents are well aware of the importance of school education to step out of poverty. However, there is a challenge. Vidya is a special child with low vision and needs a wheelchair to move around. She is one among the estimated 2.36 million children of the age group 5 to 10 with disabilities in India. Her parents are concerned as the school nearby is very inaccessible and only has stairs. The classrooms and toilets are not disabled children friendly. The parents also know that no other child with disabilities from their village goes to school, as teachers are not trained to educate them. So the school seems so close yet so far for Vidya. Nevertheless, this situation can be changed using right tools, creating awareness, and bringing a difference in teaching methods. Every child has a right to school education in India through Right to Education Act. CBM India's Include Vidya campaign brings parents, teachers, communities, and organizations together to work collectively to make inclusive education a reality. It works by strengthening government's Sarva Siksha Abhiyan that stands for universalization of elementary education. Our program supports schools with special resource centers and trained educators to encourage inclusive education, making schools more accessible with widened doorways, stairways extended with ramps, and including special toilets for children like Vidya. Providing special resources within the school premises and giving them their own space to participate in learning. Ensuring children with disability to study alongside their non-disabled peers. Participation of Vidya in mainstream schools is crucial for inclusion and empowerment. Let us unite and support to make inclusive education a reality for millions of children like Vidya. Come join the campaign, include Vidya, and send her to school.
So that was Include Vidya by CBM India. There are multiple non-governmental organizations who are working in that regard, and this is an amazing video. Now, how many of you know that on our computers we have got this option called as accessibility? What do you mean by the word accessibility? Can you please put it on the chat? Think about it. What do you actually mean by accessibility? Put it on the chat. Accessibility means easy access. Is it like that? Put it on the chat. What do you mean by accessibility? It's a very misconceived term which can be accessed and used. Reachable, availability, approachable, available, used by all. But it is actually not the case. We think that it is easily available, approachable, reachable, used by all. You're kind of correct actually, but not completely right, because accessibility options are those options that are actually designed for the people with different kind of abilities. That is actually the reason. Now, for example, if I say that on my computer, used for special needs, Manju ma'am, you're absolutely correct. Or technology, it could be anything. All for all. Exactly, that's a good point. For all. So when we talk about our computers, there is this option called as access settings. Let me share my screen, and I would request you to please check in your system if these options are present. So you need to go to the search option if it's on Windows and type access. Now when you do that, there is something called as ease of access settings. I think you would have come across this. The moment I click on that, this is how it gets opened up, and you can see that drag the slider until the sample text is easy to read. So I can drag it and increase the size of the text. So for the people who are not able to see things clearly when the size is small, you can increase the font size. This is accessibility option. Now when you come over here on the left side, you've got an option of magnifier. Now the moment I turn on the magnifier, I can highlight a particular text. You can see that this can be increased, see, to 300%. and wherever I move the mouse, the screen also moves. Now this is called as magnifier. So the people who are finding it difficult to read one part of the text, we can use magnifier. This is accessibility option. There are color filters as well. Some people are colorblind, like I have a problem looking at certain colors. So when I come over here, I can turn on color filters. I can have grayscale inverted, depending on different types of colors that I can see. I can even choose them. It's present over here. Then again, when you come down to high contrast, this is another thing where the whole system, gets changed. I think you'll be able to see this in few seconds. I'm going to go back in few seconds. It takes a little bit of time, and you can see that there is a drastic change right now. Now this high contrast blue is there, then hyperlinks is there. You can see the taskbar has got completely changed. Again, that's an accessibility option. Let me go back to the normal scenario, considering this to be a workshop. And in similar fashion, you've got something called as text to speech. The whole content that's present on the system, the whole content that's present on the system will be read out by the software. I'm not sure how many of you have used this option of text to speech called as narrator. The moment you click on narrator and you scroll the mouse on,
Narrator
we can
dialog.
see that.
OK. Button. Alt plus O. Heads up. Narrator keyboard
I
changes.
move the
We've
mouse.
updated the narrator keyboard layout so it more closely matches the experience you may have had with other screen. Exiting narrator.
Great. So wherever I take the mouse to that particular area, the whole text will be getting narrated. Now this is called as accessibility option. Now accessibility option is something really fascinating from various angles. Why? Because it's not present only for one set of people. It's actually present to everyone. Now that's where something called as UDL comes into picture. Let me show that as well. You'll be interested to know about it. And once that is done, let's watch another video to get a better understanding of inclusion. And for that, I need to go back. I need to go back. I need to go back. Here we go. Okay, I share the screen. One, two, three. Huh. So when we talk about inclusive education, we were seeing that because of the societal demands, societal requirement, where everybody is coming with, requiring same set of challenges. Uh, the inclusion should be obvious in school education. Yeah, let's go further. Now, accepting the diversity in the classroom, this is directly from the course, is very important, and there are 5 factors that they highlight. One of them is working together to eradicate all forms of discrimination and building alliances across differences. Now this discrimination and differences, first of all, needs to come out of a teacher's mind, and that is very, very difficult in India without a training program. Now, there are so many people out there with still some beliefs of whatever culture they were brought up from or raised in. Some people believe that early morning you're supposed to do certain activities. If you do not do, you are definitely not a God's child. To that extent, it's still there in the remote areas, not in urban to a large extent, considering the exposure of such training programs, but in rural areas, still it is quite prevalent. And I'm very sure in your locality, this is still there. And if it's not there in you, you should be proud about it. Discrimination creates and sustains privileges for some and disadvantage for others. Now, there is another level of discrimination. When my father was a teacher, my class teacher, I used to tell him, I did not do the homework that you gave. And he comes to the class and doesn't ask about the homework. Why? Because he knows that his son, who's present in the class, did not do the homework. So he doesn't ask about the homework to everyone. The next day, I would have done the homework, and that's the time when he asks about it. And at that particular time, if some of the people did not do the homework, then those children actually get punished. This is a very bad discrimination. Well, the example is just for illustration purpose. This never happened. I'm just saying. But the point is, discrimination creates a kind of difference, but sometimes it's more like a privilege for some people and a bad thing for some other people. Yeah, that's bad. Ways of being and ways of knowing. Very important. Veerdas in some of the TED talks, he actually spoke about this, where he says that accepting diversity is more important than uniting diversity. I'll repeat it. You understand who you are, what's your culture, what's your tradition, but also try to take an effort to know what the other culture is all about. Some people say that cat is inauspicious, but there are some people who say that cat as an animal is a god. You know about it, right? Some people believe that, this is how the life actually should be, but some other people totally are opposite about it. Now there is an important aspect. You need to stand for your way of being by following, and by following the same. You also need to respect by knowing the other culture. That's very important. So know that there is a difference, know that there is a diversity, but accepting it is more important. There is, a lot of beautiful things about acceptance of different diverse culture. We'll keep that for Super Sunday workshop, another one. But right now let's continue understanding interdependence on each other. End of the day, the country that we live in constitutes of a lot of interdependence. Today I can't eat rice if the people at Punjab stop farming. I can't eat wheat probably if the Rajasthan people or the people at Uttar Pradesh stop farming. You can take any example from commodity point of view, or even from media point of view. You can't, I mean, nobody can say that I'm a self born and a self developed woman or man. That's never possible. So that's understanding interdependence, mutual respect for qualities and experiences for all. So these are understanding diversity and practicing to appreciate respect. I found this to be very unique and important for teachers to be known. That's the reason this is present over here in the slide. Let's continue. Policies that highlighted inclusive education in the past. National Curriculum Framework 2005. In fact, in 1986 itself, they spoke about inclusive education in a different manner. We'll talk about that a little later. National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education in 2009. Transforming Our World, Sustainable Development 2030 Agenda, that also spoke about inclusive education. The National Policy on Education 2020, and the Integrated Scheme on School Education 2018, which is called as Samagra Siksha Scheme, is also talking about inclusive education. But it's all coming down from this particular legal act called as RPWD Act 2016, which very clearly says that it's more like a summary. Inclusive education is defined as a system of education wherein students with and without disability learn together, and in the system of teaching and learning suitably adapted to meet the learning needs of different types of learners. That's what they talk about. Every child with a benchmark disability, they've even given less than 40%. Within 40%, this is quite acceptable. Shall have the right to access to free education in an appropriate environment till he or she attains the age of 18 years. So this is the legal act which is important to be mentioned. Finally, we are coming almost to the last part of it, where we talk about disabilities categorized into two areas. We are not going to get into the details of it much because this is altogether a different topic, which we will keep for another Super Sunday workshop. But the medical model and the social model. There are three terms: impairment, handicap, and disability. What are the differences? Let's not touch upon them right now. But when we talk about the medical model addresses everyone as a problem. For example, I'm there on the wheelchair. What should we do? I mean, the person's leg is actually not functional, it's not able to walk. What should we do? Now here in this case, they are going to come up with an idea of, let's have a wheelchair that can automatically move. Let's have an extra prosthetic, some kind of a thing, so that the person can start walking. So everything is related to the patient. Look at the word I'm using, patient. So the person is considered to be the problem. That's where the social model differs. Medical model is about the problem of the person, but the social model talks about barriers. Now when we talk about social model, it's not the problem, it's another type of human being present over there. Let's adjust the whole surrounding in the universe so that that person also feels included. Now that's really interesting, right? Now how does it actually work? Let me show you here in this case. Okay. uh
Vidya,
Let me go forward. Huh. Universal design for learning. So you can see that UDL for accessibility. Can you see this? There is a person who's there on the wheelchair, and there is a telephone present out there. It's kept at a lower level so that the person can easily access it. It's a good thing. No, it is actually not the good thing, because that particular step is reminding the person that you are disabled, and that's the reason this is working like this. But look at UDL. Look at UDL with universal accessibility option. The telephone booth is kept in a manner so that all of the telephones are present at a lower level, so that the whole universe is adjusting to that particular requirement. This is called as inclusion. I hope this is giving some clarity. This picture is like equivalent to 1,000 words. And universal design for learning, UDL, is an important step taken in many countries, and it's actually there in the school as well. Let's go further. I would like to So when we talked about how did it get evolved, there were three things that happened. So somewhere in the year 1976 and 80, around that particular time, uh, National Policy for Education (NPE) came up with this thing called a special education. Very interesting idea. Now there they came up with this concept of, let us identify the children with different thinking abilities, different backgrounds, different learning abilities from mental and physical perspectives, and they came up with this idea, let's have special education, and there used to be special schools, special teacher, everything. But here in this case, it's more like a segregated approach. We are dividing the people. Right now it is said that you're not supposed to do that. Even dividing the children as slow learners and fast learners is also a crime. For example, in many schools, at least during my days when I was there in the school, we used to have a section ABC, where A used to be considered to be the children with good marks. Everyone who is above 95 is there in section A. Everyone with 75 to 95 are there in section B. The students who are not even able to score 75 less than that are in section C. Yeah, so this is something bad. This is where special education comes into picture. Though it was supposed to be, from the intention point of view, nice, but it did not work out, because mentally it is getting reminded for the children who is there in section C that I am somewhere at the back. Remember the first point that we discussed, inclusion is more of a mental acceptance rather than a physical acceptance. Then finally integrated education came into picture, where people started having same school but different classrooms. That's where integrated came into picture. But inclusive education, as per the latest NEP 2020 policy, says that education for all with equity and accessibility, not equality. I'll repeat it, it's equity. Break the barriers and start conducting the classes. That's where they talk about. So this is how it got evolved. And for this, I would like to show you one very good video. Please watch this. This will give a lot of clarity and clear a lot of misconceptions. This is about a child um, speaking in her mind, more from metacognition perspective. Listen to this.
I don't understand why I'm at the back of the class. I wish I was like everyone else. I want to do what they're doing. But here I am doing the same old number activity, watching as my classmates learn something else. Don't they know that they're setting me up to fail? Don't they know they hold my future in their hands? I want to work with my class, learn what they are learning, and do the activities they do. But here I am, stuck at the back, limited by low expectations. Having a one-on-one teacher aide just teaches me to rely on them and means I get less attention from the teacher. I'm not included in the classroom. I am in the same room but segregated from my peers, sat to the side or back, working on different things and missing out. I want to be free to learn with my peers, reach my full potential and be seen to be like everyone else. I need something to change. You may be wondering what was wrong with this picture. I am in the classroom with my peers, sitting in my seat, learning the same things as everyone else. You may think this is inclusion, but it's not. I am stifled, limited, and held back from reaching my full potential. Though I love my teacher aide, I don't get to think for myself. In fact, a lot of the time my teacher aide does it for me, even whispering the answer in my ear when I already know it. The more she is with me, the more I realize that there is no point in me thinking for myself because she will give me the answer anyway. I'm sure there are other kids who also need her help. Does she need to be with me? Can't she help others? Surely if I need help, I can put my hand up and ask my teacher like my friends do. My friends and classmates want to help me, but by having someone right next to me, they can't. I need to learn from my peers, be able to do group work and be challenged. I want to be allowed to fail or succeed and learn from it. I need something to change. Can you find me in the crowd? Inclusion is more than just a word. It is a culture, a mindset, and an expectation that everyone can and will learn and succeed along their age-appropriate peers. I know it can be challenging to include me in the learning, as sometimes I might require extra resources and information, but giving me space to learn from my teacher and peers is the best way to challenge me and allow me to grow. I want to learn the same things as my classmates, and I want teachers to have the same expectations of me as my friends. My learning may need to be modified, but I still want the opportunity to show what I can do, not focus on what I can't. Treat me the same as any other student and watch me flourish. I will rise to the challenge of expectations you set for me. Are you ready to really include me?
So that's with respect to the perspective of a child's mentality with a Down syndrome to be included in the class. There used to be one very good topic that people generally discuss on, especially in soft skills, called as empathy and sympathy. So when we talk about sympathy, it's like it's crime to have a sympathy. It seems you're not supposed to have sympathy on anyone. If you're really sympathetic, just raise your level to empathetic level and get people into involve things, so that there's a productivity out there. Now that just because the people had huge emotion levels of sympathy back in those times, considering the levels of exposure and educational backgrounds, people used to come up with ideas that support a problem at that moment and not for lifelong learning. And that's when problems like Down syndrome or autism or dyslexia, all these things were identified. But what really matters over here is, let's try to include them in the certificate itself, in the session itself, in the classroom itself, so that they are considered to be mentally that one among the other people. So that is something very unique, and it's not an easy task. We'll have a separate session talking about disabilities and Ramages. Okay, okay, that's great. So we're going to talk about all these things in one way. Here did not receive. Okay, so I'm going to talk about it. So sympathy and then all these things. Let me show you something else right now from the perspective of. Here we go. I stop share the screen and come on, come on, come on. Yeah. So that's going to be, what are some methods with respect to identification of, how do I actually learn the things? So here in this case, let's do a small activity, teachers. Here we go. That's great. You're able to see the screen right now? Yes, you should be able to. So on the chat, let's start putting up some information about how do you actually learn. How do you actually learn? Let's start with that. The first thing is looking at yourself as a learner. I learn slowly when, you can put it on the chat. When do you learn slowly? For example, I learn slowly when I am amongst multiple people around me. When there are a group of people sitting around me, I don't really learn, fast. I learn slowly. Is there anyone out there with a different opinion out there? Okay, when I'm distracted, when I'm alone. Oh, wow. When you are alone, Charanjit ma'am, you go to sleep, right? Not focused. Okay. When not concentrating, in a group, alone. When you're sad. Okay. When you don't understand, I learn slowly when you don't understand. Wow, that's a very nice way of asking. When you're overworked. Okay, that's good. Oh, very good. In sleep. When I'm not involved. Oh, that's interesting. When I'm not interested in the topic. Okay, topic determines it. That's great. When mobile phone is nearby. Oh, yes, that's there. When not in a mood. Okay, I have distractions. So you learn slowly when so many different things are coming into picture. Now, can I categorize all of you under one area and have a separate class? No, that's not possible. You have to be included. Let's go to the next one. I learn quickly when. So I learn quickly when I watch a video. When I watch a video, that's the time when I actually learn quickly. When you're happy, okay, that's great. When you listen together, when it's interesting, when it's engaging, when you're involved, that's great. Babita ma'am, Apurva ma'am, when you're focused, Harshal, that's great. When the educator is okay, that's great. Topic is of your interest. Videos and picture, okay, that's great. Let's go to the third one. Now from quickly perspective, it's going to go to easy perspective. I find learning easy when do you find learning easy? So I find learning easy when I make an activity or I perform an activity of the learning. It could be anything. Learning by doing, okay, that's great. When the language is simple, wow, that's great. That's a very good way of putting it. Jaya ma'am, when it's visualized, okay, that's right. Pranita ma'am says the way they convey, the way they teach by seeing with an activity. Okay, lovely. Again, there are multiple categories. Charanjit ma'am says videos. So is that the case, right? Again, I categorize all of you and have a separate classroom. We can't do that. This categorization is very difficult. Automatically, this looks into some sort of inclusion out there. Now, when we talk about next category, learning from textbook is learning from textbook is for me very interesting. If it is NCRT textbook, I love the language. So learning from textbook is very interesting. Okay, Piali ma'am likes it. Okay, oh my god, most of you are boring. I mean, most of you say that to be boring. Okay, it's interesting. It's sleepy. Okay, that's nice way of saying that. Okay, but textbook learning अच्छा है ना बीच बीच में वीडियो के साथ maybe, but no. Okay, fine. Again, there are difference of opinions over here. Okay, let's go to the next one. Learning in groups is for me fun, enjoyment. It's just for some time, by the way, but I want to go alone. But chalega, learning in groups for sometimes is exciting, fun, especially when it is about opinions and perceptions. In social studies and languages, we can do that, right? Yeah, exactly. I learn well from someone who, let's go to the uh, next category. I learn well from someone who is my friend. I would say who is my friends. Okay, cares, understands me, helps me to learn in a better way. That's great, Mayuri ma'am. Okay, Sukdira ma'am, that's also nice. Knows better than me. Wow, that's super level of confidence, Madhavi ma'am. Amazing. Tarandeep ma'am says exciting and multiple intelligence. Who has got more information? Makes it interesting. My mentor. Okay. Oh wow. Who convey it in a different way, communicates well and is polite. Okay, I'm learning a lot of things over here. Who teaches patiently? Okay, that's great. So here in this case, I've learned well from someone who's my friend is, according to me, when you don't like the subject. Okay. I enjoy learning when the last one. I enjoy learning when I'm involved. Okay, that's great. When I'm with friends, that's great. Can ask many questions and that can be stupid. That's great. Amazing. Okay, Meena ma'am, Nalini ma'am, that's great. When you're happy, Nisha ma'am. Okay, attention is on me. Oh, focus needs to be on you. Limelight. Okay, activities there. Oh, that's great. Encouraging an approachable teacher. Lovely. Approachability is very important, very closely related to accessibility in one way or the other. Hands-on activity, very good. Okay, it's active, motivating. Perfect, perfect. Let me stop share the screen. Fantastic. So we've got different types of learning over here. And do you really think as a teacher you'll be able to address all of them? You have to. You think or not doesn't matter. You have to. We have to. And that's why there are so many pedagogies coming up into picture, so many ways of learning things in one way or the other. And people come up with their own ideas. Say, for example, there is this thing called as buddy system. I do not know how many of you heard about it. Buddy system means there is a teacher who allocates one student as a responsible person for another student, more like peer learning. But this buddy system incorporates a lot of values. The child who's teaching somebody else, who's being a buddy, takes the responsibility of another person. That's a huge thing, huge leadership quality at that particular age. And buddy system is again from gender perspective. Inclusion need not be boy to boy, it needs to be girl to boy and a boy to girl. And if there is a transgender in the class, a third gender to a boy or a girl has to be present. That's inclusion in the classroom. So these are some of the aspects with respect to inclusive education, and we can incorporate more. One last thing. Okay, you are already doing it in your school, that's great. Exactly. In army, it is more like a tradition, and there is a buddy even in army. In fact, this buddy is actually a word from army to that extent. Yeah, you do that. That's great. Let me show you one last video and the summary before we close for the day about inclusive education. We are going to get into the details of inclusive education from disability perspective, from social perspective to a large extent in multiple other sessions in the future. But as of now, let's watch one last video before we close, and this is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. Watch this. So there's a boy with his blind mother going to a museum.
Mom, my shoelaces.
You can do it.
Please.
Okay. 2 bunny ears, loop around and pull together. Got it?
don't want to be here.
James, I want you to pick an artwork you like and tell me about it. Art is a wonderful thing and I want to enjoy it with you, okay?
Okay.
What do you see?
Come. Sit here.
Okay.
Before you towers a terrifying scene of war. Thousands of forces break the grassy ground in a cavalry charge. Soldiers sporting blood-red uniforms ride with valor in a fearless resolve to attack. Some blow military bugles, others raise their voice in a war cry. Mighty silver blades are exalted above their heads. Leading up front, a commander on a mighty white stallion. The beast's eyes were wide and ferocious, every muscle and vein pulsing through his skin. The commander rides the steed high, his face blazing with heroism, but still in his eyes a glimmer of fear. For at the front line, survival is not guaranteed.
I'm so proud of you.
Can you describe that one to us over there?
So inclusion makes the world vibrant. You saw that, and here in this case, the child was not narrating the or depicting the story just to his blind mother, but also to the people who are able to see things clearly. Now, this is where we talk about inclusion. So that's it from my side for this particular session on inclusive education. Teachers and school leaders out there, for just a small touch on the tip of an iceberg on setting the context of what inclusive education can actually mean. There are a lot of other things with respect to this, quite a detailed document, and even in government of India they released one document on approaches to divyang. Divyang is like divyang, it's like a different type of person out there, and it's a good document out there. We'll talk about that in further sessions in future, but yeah, this is with respect to more of introduction to curriculum framework and its responsibility from inclusive part. Thank you so much. It was great interacting with one and all on a very emotional and a sensitive topic again on a Super Sunday workshop. It gives me immense pleasure to see people who are consistent in nature, and I'm able to see that in the reflection form. Reflection form is getting launched on the chat regularly. So please click on the reflection form, answer the questions on inclusive education, just to get an exposure on what we discussed about. And by 6 p.m. today, it'll get closed so that, before 6 p.m., if you can fill it up, you'll get your certificates according to that. If in case anybody did not receive the previous certificate, I would request you to please write a mail to swati@superteacher.in. You can keep me in CC, vasudevan@superteacher.in. Also, one more announcement. We are starting a CPD batch tomorrow, that is 14th August, which costs a certain amount. If a school would like to join, you can definitely join at a lower cost. But if an individual is joining, the price is 2,500 for 25 hours. I'm following rupees 100 per hour per teacher model. That's it. In case if anybody would like to join, please call me. My number is actually there on the top in the reflection form. I'll be able to answer you. So let's close for today. Yeah, this is also the time for deciding the curriculum. Many schools would have already started their work on that regard. We have a computer science curriculum, which I would like to proudly present to you. In case if anyone is interested to know more about it, please click on yes under the category. There's one question and survey. So you can even contact to know more about it. I'll be able to share the samples with you on computer science education. We'll talk about that in detail in one of the Super Sunday workshop for sure, probably in another 1 or 2 weeks time. So let's close for the day. It was great interacting with one and all teachers. Happy Independence Day to one and all. Thanks for consistently joining on a Super Sunday workshop. I would like to meet you again with another amazing topic in the next Sunday. Till then, thank you so much and goodbye. Jai Hind. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, Sushma ma'am. Tahira ma'am, please mail it to me, mail it to us. I will definitely help you getting it. Rachna, thank you. Thank you, Praveen sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jaya ma'am. Thank you, Mr. Santosh. Tahira ma'am, Swati at the rate superteacher.in, SWATHI. Oh, Meena ma'am, advance happy birthday wishes to you. Yeah, around 500 people wishing you right now. Thank you so much. Prashant sir, thank you. Harinder ma'am, thank you so much. Okay, thank you, Reena ma'am, means a lot. Thank you. Savita ma'am, thank you. Rinki ma'am, thank you. Good to have you here, Sangeeta ma'am. Thank you so much. Please share the information of Super Sunday workshop to all your colleagues, peers. Let's impact as many people as possible. I'll make sure each and every session is very productive. I won't talk anything running around the bush. It'll be to the point, providing a lot of exposure to what's happening in India, especially in terms of education. Yes, Leena ma'am. You will receive it today or tomorrow. Thank you, Megha ma'am. Thank you, Tamanna ma'am. Thank you so much. Richa ma'am, thank you. Great. If there is any queries, you can directly connect with me from CPD participation point of view. Shanti ma'am, there's a Telegram group which you can participate in. Please fill up the reflection form. In the form itself, I've given you the link to join the Telegram group. And even my number is there. Abhishek, you're absolutely correct. Yes. Komal ma'am, you'll one more week. You wait, you will receive the certificate for 6th August. 15 days is the time that we generally take. Yeah. Thank you, Romana ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. The session is over for the day. You can leave. In case if anyone has a question to be dropped down, please put it here. I'll be there here for another 2 to 3 minutes and then leave. Yes, Poonam ma'am, absolutely. They are. They are. This would be considered to be in-house training program for school teachers, conducted by the school. Thank you so much for joining, Anita ma'am, on a regular basis. Madhavi ma'am, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shalini ma'am. If there is any query, put it on the chat. Last Sunday's workshop at Dashi ma'am, you will get in another 1 week time. Mail ID is vasudevan@superteacher.in. If you fill the reflection form, you will be able to see my phone number as well. 9790941568. I'm putting it on the chat as well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. The previous week certificate within 15 days. Oh, Girish sir, that's a big term you're using, but that means a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Khushbu ma'am, yeah, message me. I shall share it with you. I shall. Rinki ma'am, write a mail, please. Once there, it's there in the mail. I'll have this, unread message with which I'll be able to work on it. Thank you so much, Girish sir. Thank you so much. It's too big a word, but I'll take that as a responsibility. Thank you. Thank you. Michelle Pereira, ma'am. It's been a long time. Thank you. Please mail it to us. You should receive it. Thank you, Sarita, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you all. Great. Happy Independence Day to one all. Yeah, thank you. I'll close the session for today. I'll meet you again with another workshop. I think it's on 19th. No, on 20. Important topic next week coming up. I'll put it on the website by Wednesday. Thank you so much, teachers. Have a nice time. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Komal, ma'am. I heard that.